Hey, what is up YouTube? It is Rob again, back with another monk video. Last week I did a monk build video for you guys, and this time I'm going to do another monk build skill and ruins video. This is going to be a remake of the previous build that I had done last week, the Sweeping Winds build. I had put some time into making that build, and I had gotten to the point to where I thought it was good enough to put out. And after a little bit more research and some comments on YouTube and some private messages from people on YouTube, I realized there was a little bit more room for improvement, actually pretty drastic improvement in my opinion. So I feel like I should be putting out a new and improved and drastically better version of this same build. So if you were already using that build that I showed you in the previous video, you definitely need to check this one out because this one is by far superior to that one in almost every way in my opinion. This is going to be more DPS oriented, but still pretty heavy. Still pretty heavy on the survivability. It's a very survivable build for somebody that's under geared like me. My gear isn't all that great, so this is a very survivable build, but also puts out a solid amount of DPS. I feel like this puts out more DPS than the previous one. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave this on MP6 for now because this is just going to be build, skills, and ruins. I'm going to show you the skills, ruins that I'm using, and a little bit as to why I'm using each of them. So, no reason to raise the MP or lower the MP. So the first skill that I'm using is Crippling Wave. Crippling Wave is a melee attack that generates spirit per attack. It does 110% weapon damage to all enemies in front of you, and every third hit you do does a AoE 360 attack that hits everybody around you in a 360 area, and also slows their movement speed by 30% and attack speed by 20% for 3 seconds. I'm using the Rising Tide rune, which makes it to where critical hits generate an additional 5 spirit for every target hit. So it'll be nice. Crit will be a pretty essential stat to be stacking for this. It's going to help you generate spirit so you can spam your spells faster and just have a more abundant amount of spirit. So crit is going to be very essential for this build. So you're going to want to stack a pretty solid amount of that. This is going to be your main spirit generating attack that you're going to be spamming very, very consistently. The next skill that I'm using is Seven-Sided Strike with the Sudden Assault Ruin. Now this is the skill that I changed up. I was using, I believe, Wave of Light. So I changed it up to Seven-Sided Strike this time around. Seven-Sided Strike is a pretty big cooldown skill that does a lot of damage. Dash between enemies, dealing 1,777 percent weapon damage over 7 hits. That's a lot of damage. You're basically just going to jump between 7 targets or 7 attacks within whatever area you right click on or whatever button you macro it to. And it's just going to put out a lot of damage and make you basically teleport and jump between each enemy. I'm using the Sudden Assault rune, which actually makes you teleport across the screen when you click. It takes you from whatever point you are to wherever you click and literally jumps you across the screen. And it increases the damage to 2,309%, which is a very large amount of damage. And the really good thing about this, besides the fact that it puts out a large amount of damage in a short period of time, while you are doing this, you are pretty much invincible. You're jumping in between these enemies attacking, and you don't get hit. At least as far as I've noticed, I've never been hit while doing this, and I believe that's pretty much the general opinion on this. When you use a skill, it's a big oh shit button. Put out a lot of DPS, get some lifesteal back, and be invincible for a few seconds. Granted, you're not going to be able to do anything while this attack's going off. It's just going to be going off and nailing a bunch of targets, but it'll get you a few seconds to get your shit together and reorient yourself and figure out what you want to do next. So this is really good for DPS and really good for survivability, so I think this is a really essential skill, far superior to Wave of Light. Awesome skill. I definitely recommend using it. Wave of Light's a good skill. Not trying to bash it at all. Still a good skill, but this one is better. Next skill I'm using is Inner Sanctuary with the Safe Haven Ruin. Inner Sanctuary basically puts a circle on the ground that lasts for 5 seconds that cannot be crossed by enemies. So it's a nice little oh shit area you can put down, make it to where nobody can cross that. It's really good to put in a doorway so they can't follow you through it. It's really good for Fallen Maniacs in Act 3. This is a really good way to avoid them. This is just a nice way to put something between you and your enemies if you know you're going to need that little extra bit of breathing space. And the Safe Haven Rune, basically it makes it to where whenever you're standing, you or your allies are standing within this circle, you're going to regenerate 1,550 life per second. This is really nice for survivability purposes. This ruin is interchangeable with some other stuff. I think it's Forbidden Palace. Makes it to where whenever you or any of your allies are standing in it, you do 15% extra weapon damage. Depending on how your gear looks, you can switch between these two. This one's more for survivability. This one's more for DPS output. I mean, depending on what would benefit you most, you can switch between that. And they've got some other decent ones too, but these two are probably the two most solid ones in my opinion. I'm sticking with Safe Haven because anything survivability wise is a benefit to me because, like I said, I'm not all that great geared. And that's what this build's basically about, is people who aren't all that great geared trying to find something that's good to use. Alright, now the next skill I'm using is also another defensive skill. It's Serenity. If you're familiar with the Paladin bubble from World of Warcraft, this is pretty similar. Puts a protective shield around you that absorbs all incoming damage for 3 seconds, makes you invincible for 3 seconds, and grants you immunity to all CC effects, or crowd control, or control impairing effects like fear, jailer, I couldn't think of it for a sec, frozen, any of that stuff. I'm using the Peaceful Repose rune, which basically just throws a heal on you at the same time, so it's gonna throw the bubble on you and heal you for 6,000 to 7,000 life, which is really nice for just getting a little bit extra health when you get into a tight situation. Really nice skill. Awesome thing to use in a really bad situation. The next skill I'm using is Sweeping Wind. This is basically the main skill that this whole build focuses on. I'm just going to read this one. It's just too long and complicated, so I'll just read this one out. Surround yourself in a vortex that continuously deals 20% weapon damage to all enemies within 10 yards. The vortex lasts 6 seconds and is refreshed each time you hit an enemy. Landing a critical strike has a chance to increase the stack of this spell by 2 times for up to 20% weapon damage to your enemies. So every time you crit, it has a chance to increase the stack amount of this skill, increasing it from 20 to 40 to 60% damage. And I'm using the Cyclone Rune, which makes to where when you get to your maximum stack count, your crit hits have a chance to spawn lightning tornadoes, which do 26% weapon damage as lightning damage to enemies that it touches. So basically when you're critting at full stacks of this skill, you're going to be spawning these little blue tornadoes that are going to patrol around and seek out enemies and dish out extra damage. So you're going to be using your Crippling Wave, which does the 360 AoE damage around you in a melee attack. Then you're basically going to be getting an aura from this Sweeping Wind, which will be doing additional damage to anyone that comes within melee range. And you're going to be spawning these blue tornadoes, so this is going to be putting out a lot of damage over a lot of enemies in a pretty quick, pretty short amount of time. This is really good for burning down a lot of trash mobs when you have a lot of targets to hit. This will burn them down really fast. Really good for elites too, but I mean this is really awesome for burning down white mobs and when you're dealing with massive amounts of trash. Awesome skill. Very powerful. Probably one of the best skills the monk has, in my opinion. Very entertaining to use, too. Very, very fun. Next skill I'm using is a mantra. It's Mantra of Retribution. Basically, makes to where you have thorns. Does 40% holy weapon damage to anybody that attacks you. Or deals holy damage equal to 40% of the damage sustained, rather. That's basically what it is. That's not really why I'm using this. The reason why I'm using this is because of the rune I'm using. I'm using Transgression, which increases your attack speed of you and your allies by 8%. It's basically a hard DPS increase. Makes you attack faster, makes you put out more damage in a shorter period of time. The mantra itself is nice. It's okay and all. That's great, but the rune is basically why I use this. This is a deal breaker for me. Basically exactly why this is used is the attack speed. Amazing rune. That's the main focus of that skill, is the rune. Awesome, attack speed, great, use it. Anyways, moving on. The passive skills I'm using are Guardian's Path, One with Everything, and Pacifism. Start with Guardian's Path. While dual wielding, you gain 15% chance to dodge incoming attacks, and when you have a two-handed weapon, you generate 35% extra spirit. Sorry, my video is probably going to get cut off. I only have a 10-minute recording time, so you're probably going to see a cut in just a sec. And the next one I'm using is One with Everything. Makes to where all your resistances are equal to your highest elemental resistance, so you can basically focus on stacking one skill, one resist. So as you can see right here, all mine are 516 because I am stacking cold resist on my gear. So my cold resist is 516. Don't even know what the other ones are. They're all equal to that. So it makes it a lot easier and a lot more efficient to stack resists. You can still stack your resist all, but also just focus on one resist and you can get them all a lot higher because of that. All right, pacifism makes it to where when you're under the effect of any CC or stun or fear or immobilize or charm, all damage taken is reduced by 75%, which is awesome. Because no matter what you do, even with all these defensive skills and cooldowns, you're still going to get CC'd every once in a while. You're still going to get frozen or jailed or something every once in a while. It's going to happen. This is a really nice fallback to have, nice cushion. It's going to reduce the damage you take by 75%. Whenever you do happen to screw up, because everybody screws up. It's going to happen. It doesn't matter how good you are. It's going to happen eventually. This is a really nice thing to fall back on. I really like this. Awesome thing to have. Very beneficial. Very good for survivability. Anyways, I think that's about all I've got for this build for now. I'll show you my skills, my stats real quick. Like I said, you want to stack crit chance, but mine's not all that high. I'm missing crit on my neck. That's basically why. I would more likely want it to be around like 44-45% crit chance, but I mean 36 is working just fine for me for now, so that'll just have to do. Anyways, I wanted to move on to a little something else before I end this video. You might have noticed my YouTube channel has changed over to the new layout that YouTube is now forcing upon everybody here in the near future. So I had to go out and get some channel art for myself. So I posted on a forum, got a friend on a forum to help me out there, and he went ahead and made this channel art or banner for me. I think it's pretty awesome. It looks pretty damn sick in my opinion. So I figured I'd give this guy a shout out and give him the credit for making it. The creator of this channel art is Pitbull North Sea. Go over to his channel, check him out, subscribe. He makes some pretty cool videos. He does top 10 videos. I watched a couple of them. They're pretty neat actually. Basically top 10 things that you didn't know, just some useful, cool, fun information. So go ahead, go over to his channel, check him out, subscribe, any of that stuff. So yeah, some pretty neat stuff over there. I went ahead and subscribed to him myself right now. So I just figured since he went ahead and did that for me, I'd give him a little bit of a shout out. I will put a link to his channel in my description of this video. Go over there, watch some of his videos, give him a like, comment, all that good stuff. If you really liked my video, give me a like, comment, subscribe. Any suggestions, any questions, leave me a question below. I'm open to any suggestions. Main reason as to why this video happened is because I had received so much information from my viewers and other people on the internet, and that basically provoked me to make this video. So if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be making this one right now. So yeah, that's about all I've got for today. Check out the link to my Facebook in the description if you want updates and stuff. I'll have that there too. Anyways, that's all I've got for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.